So, today I'm going to try to solve this puzzle that somebody sent me, well, IFA sent me on email, because it seems interesting to try to solve, and I'm just curious if I can. If I can't, then oops, but let's see if we can figure it out. So, a millionaire from London bought a unique house which is having a lot of rooms, expensive items, and many other automatic equipment. A journalist went to his house for interviewing him. He entered the wrong door and comes inside the house, but he lost his path for going to main room. Hello, Elash. For going to main room due to lot of rooms and unique structure of house. So the English in this puzzle is not the best, but I don't think the English is the important part. He got stuck in the house. He goes from one room to another but couldn't find the right door. He got one automatic answer machine in a room and asked it about way to go out. Machine replied that he will receive a word, but he needs to make a proper pattern from that word. So I guess you're getting like a password that you have to figure something out with, and that gives you the path out of this crazy house. After entering the pattern in the machine, he will get the correct path from machine. By this way, he can come out of the house. Word pattern should be made. If we start word from the left letter to the right, or from the right to the left, then that word should be same. For making this type of pattern, he can add as many letters in the word at any place. So basically, we have a we get a sequence of letters, and we need to figure out what we should change to create a palindrome, right? I think so. Palindrome being a word that is read a string that is read the same from one end to the other. So let's sign in to GitHub, and sign into Code Sandbox. We're going to be doing it in Code Sandbox because that is the easiest way to do so. We get vanilla because we don't really need to do much, and let's try just copy pasting this into here. So interview puzzle time, and we have a paragraph that looks like that. P, and then we have a strong paragraph with a bit more stuff. Now, it's been a long time since I've done anything really algorithmic, so we're gonna see if I still know how to do algorithms and stuff, but this should be interesting. Great. Why is this not rendering anymore? Okay, there we go. So I'm going to copy paste the entire puzzle. Input format, constraints, output format, sample case. There we go. I'm just gonna paste this all here. Or I can hide this stuff. Let's see. So first line, let's do that. And B. Then we have the paragraph and paragraph. Then we get a paragraph and end paragraph. Let's save that, see what renders. B and B. Come on, you know you can load this, Code Sandbox. All right. B, then we have, this should be a pre or a code. So code, yes, this is not the interview part yet. This is still just playing around and making this somewhat presentable. And P, sample test case. I'm going to just do this whole thing as a pre, and then we have a B and B and a P and P. Right, so that's going to be the puzzle, and we're going to use console logs for the answer. So let's do that. So we're going to have a const input, which equals, we said there's 2 lines for the input. First line represents total number of characters in the word, which is of integer type n. We don't really need that because we're not programming this in C, but let's keep it anyway. So we're going to say const word equals, let's use faker. Faker is a good letter. Yes. So add dependency faker.js. We're going to use faker to generate words for us. So import faker from faker, we go down, and then we say const word equals faker dot lorem dot word. That's a thing. And then we say const input equals like that. So first we get word dot length, and then we get the word. Let's console log our input to see what it says. Console log, this is our input. So, oh, I'm an idiot. This is a string variable. Come, that is not a great word. Okay, maybe we need a different. Should we use a different faker? Let's see, GitHub faker.js. I know there's a way to generate normal words. So faker.js, faker node. I know the Ruby version of faker has Rick and Morty and various TV shows. Word, domain word, lorem words, random word. That could work. Let's do random word. So faker random word, neural. Wonderful. So now we gotta figure out. Yeah. Now we gotta figure out how to turn this into a. Let's see. You need to print desired minimum number of characters needed to add in the original word. So if we get AB3BD, we need to output the letter 2 because we need to add AB3B, 3D. No, what do we need to add? After adding 2 characters, D after A, so ADB3B, and A at the last given word. Now the word will be ADB3BDA, hence the output will be 2. Okay, now how do we solve that problem? We first need a way to know whether it's already a palindrome. That's the easiest thing to do. So we're going to say function is palindrome, and we're going to get a string, and we return true if string equals string dot. I think there's a reverse, JavaScript reverse string. I know that exists. The split method, split reverse, perfect. So we can do that. String split reverse join. That tells us whether something is a palindrome. So actually, let's do it this way. Function is palindrome, and then we're going to console log the. Let's see, console log input and is palindrome of input. And then just to make sure we know it actually works, we're also going to print is palindrome of B3B, right? So utilization true. I'm pretty sure utilization is not a palindrome. So no, that's not actually working. Wow, that's funny. So why does that not work? Let's do input and input split reverse join. What does that give us? Engineer. Why is console log? Hey Stingfitty, how are you doing? Stingfinity? The GitHub text input working. So I did get the GitHub text input working. There's even an article about it on my blog. Let me link that for you. I just need to make it actually, I need to, what was I gonna say? I need to package it up as a nice extension and stuff, but other than that, it actually works. So let's try console log. Why is my split not working? Input split reverse join. Why is that not? What if we just say input split? Buckinghamshire. What if we do it this way? There we go. then we do reverse and join, and that's going to make it work. And we want to join by emptiness. Okay, so now we know. Yeah, Stingfinity, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm splitting it up into smaller parts. Why is OSX meh? So input and so split and join, and then let's see, is palindrome of input and is palindrome of B3B. So let's see if that works. Oh, come on, stop giving me suggestions. False true, perfect. Hey Ridari, how are you doing tonight? Cool. So we've got that part. Now what else do we need? If we look at this, so we can identify when things are palindromes. The next thing we need is to take out anything that is already a palindrome. Oh, I know what we can do. We don't need to see is palindrome. Basically what we can do, yeah, Ridari, we're doing algorithms tonight. So I think the best solution for this is we can check the first letter and the last letter. If they match, we go on to the next letter. If they don't match, then we copy the letters over, and that's going to give us the correct result. Yes, so we don't need is palindrome. What we do need is, let's see, because we just need to, oh, duh. So here's what we're doing. We're splitting we gotta split the string into two, and then check basically the number of differences from each side, and that will be the solution to our problem. So let's see. That's the input. Oh, let's leave the input and just get the word. So we say we've got to traverse the word in from the start and from the finish. So we're going to say for let I equal 0 and j, actually let start equal 0 and end equal the proper font size so chat can read along. That's actually a good point. I forgot to zoom in. I usually zoom this in a lot more. So start equals at 0 and end equals at word dot length. Then we continue until, let's see, we're gonna be working from start until start is, while start is smaller than end, and we say start plus plus and end minus minus. So we're essentially repeating, and we're going from the start and the end of the word for basically as long as they don't intersect. So we're going to wait until they intersect, and we say, let's just console log them, start and end, and let's do word of start and word of end. So actually I need to console log the word so I know what we're working with. Console log word, so whiteboard, white and drop. Perfect. Hey fuzzy buddy, how are you doing today? Oh, no, I forget what I was gonna say. So we've got that. Now we need to count the differences. Differences equals 0, and basically if our differences needs to be a let differences equals 0, and then if word at start is not the same as word at end, then we differences plus equals 1, and in the end we should get the result. You need to to turn blah, to turn $word into a palindrome, you need to make $differences changes, right? Changes. Let's see if that works. To turn internet into a palindrome, you need differences changes. You need 4 changes. Officer into a word and -1. Yeah, we might need and -1. You're right. Actually, no, we need to say word length -1. To turn rustic into a palindrome, you need 3 changes. But let's start first with our input. So our test input is this one. So we can say const word equals blah, and that returns 1. It needs to return 2, doesn't it? While start is less than or equal to end. No. So that's not working. Let's see. If we go from the ends, we say A equals to D. It's not equal, so we add the differences. Then B is equal to B and 3 is equal to 3, which means that we need to take into account that this is not a... See, if we say word.length, then it says 3 differences, but we do need to say 3 minus 1, word length -1. And one thing we're going to do, we're going to say that word is a let, and then if actually, let's do it this way. Function diff palindrome is going to be what we call this, and we're going to put in a word like that, and then return differences. So what I'm doing right now is basically, if Stingfinity, why does my loop suck? My loop is doing exactly what loops do. Let differences equal 0, except we're not going to start at 0. We should start at if word.length. So word.length, word. Actually, let's call it a string. String, 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 string. Unexpected token, yes. If string.length divide, so basically, if we have an even number of characters in the string, then we know that we can use the algorithm that we just wrote. If we have an uneven number of characters, then we need to add a fake character at the end. So that's what we're gonna do. 0 string, and then we're going to say that the string if you do not, what do you mean it doesn't count in each iteration? Yes, let differences, okay, let's just change the word. So we can say string equals, actually if string.length modulo 2 is not 0, then we gotta say string plus equals a, let's see, what is a character that's not gonna show up? It needs to be, let's call it a star and hope that stars don't show up as the first character. Diff palindrome of word. You need 3 changes. Why does it now say 3 changes? Let's see. So const word, and then this is our function. Let's console log the string. So ab3bd star. If string start is not string end, so let's console log the current string start and string end and see why it's getting come on. So A and star, that is different. Then we go B and D. B, so that's wrong, because we don't need to make that change, do we? We need to, after adding two characters, D after A here, and A at the end. Why is it getting one extra? That's the part that's annoying me right now. What happens if we do that? No. So we go from the end. Let's do it this way. Go from the ends and we say A and star are different, so we add the differences. Then B and D are different. And then we get confused. Why is this? This is so much harder than I thought it was. Okay, so I think it makes sense to compare the Quokka Stingfinity. We are walking backwards. So what if we do it the other way around? What if we split the array in half? Let's split the string in half. So let's try that. Going to return differences for now. Now let's split the array in half. We've made it look the same on, like we made it the same length on both ends. So let's do console log string slice 0 to string length divided by 2 and see what that gives us. Why is that? AB3. So AB3, and then we're going to have BD star. AB3 console log string slice string dot length divided by 2. Come on, stop doing that. BD3. There is no lambda clone Stingfinity. I don't know what you're talking about. So BD3. Here we. What if we don't add this? So AB3 BD. So what we need, maybe we need to walk from the middle outwards. So the middle is the same for both of them. And then we check, let's go from the middle outwards. I think that's gonna make more sense. So we have AB3BD and we say for hey Isaac, middle out for odd numbers. Yeah, let's do that. So let's try it again from scratch. So for let start equals string dot length divided by 2. Actually, let's call it just middle. And then we're going to say middle equals string dot length divided by 2. Start is middle, end is also middle, and we keep going while start is more than 0, more than or equal to 0, and then we say start minus minus, and we say end plus plus. And when we do that, we're going H unification. Wow, that is very hard to pronounce. I'm doing pretty great. This puzzle is harder than I thought it was. So we console log. Let's try console logging the start and string and characters and see what happens. Everything is undefined. Wonderful. What did I press? We don't want that. So console log start is middle. Why is everything undefined? Reload. Div palindrome of word. Console was cleared. Undefined, undefined. String of start. Okay. Console log string and middle. What is the middle index of the string? 2.5. That is a terrible middle index. So we want to floor that. So we're gonna say math.floor like that. So 33BBAD. Wonderful. So we know that is one less than half of the length. Yep, you're right. So 33, we know that so we know that this is, we know that if the middle, so we can, if the middle is the same, let's go back. So if the middle is the same, we know we don't need to change that. Then the next, if it's the same, we don't need to change it. Then we add 2. So let's try that. If string of start is not the same as string of end, then we have to differences plus equals 2. And the reason we have to add 2 changes to the differences is because we know that both letters are different, which means we're going to have to make that edit on both sides of the string. So to keep, we're going to have to copy the left side to the right side and the right side to the left side, which means, let's see, so that's going to be word 1. My mind makes no sense. Okay, so console log word to make word a palindrome, change X characters, and then we're going to go through a couple of them. So let's do, what was it, AB3BD for each, and for each of those we're going to run diff word, and it's going to console log the word and the diff palindrome of that word, and that's going to help us test that this actually works, right? So to make word into palindrome, change X characters. AB3BD, we know that we need to change 2 characters to make that a palindrome. Let's try a different one. B3B, this should give us 0. It does. Now let's try AB3B. This should give us 1, but it gives us 2. Now, the reason this gives us 2 is because we have an even number of characters, we have a problem. The algorithm doesn't work with an even number of characters, because we start in the middle, which isn't a character. Let's try console logging this stuff. So I'm going to put that here. Well, why would I stop saying palindrome if we are dealing with palindromes? That's the whole thing. So let's do console log the middle. What do we get here? So the console log, so if the middle is here, so 1 0 1 2, which means we are starting with 3, which is fine. But here's what we can do. We can just say if string.length modulo 2 is not 0, then we're going to reduce then differences minus equals 1, right? No, if it is 2. So now we know, now it's correct, because B3B is a palindrome, which means we just need to copy A to the right side and we get a full palindrome. So what if we do, and we know that for the other two it works, so for these ones it works, right? Now let's see what happens if we say AA B3B 4. Do we need to change 4 characters? Because here we just need to copy A to the other side and A to the other side. So the problem here is that AAB3B only needs 2 changes, but our algorithm is saying that we need 4 changes, which is wrong. So it works correctly in this case, it works correctly in this case, but in this case we also only need 2 changes. We don't need to make 4 character changes. The reason it gets confused is because it's not finding the palindrome. So what do we need to do? Let's see. What if we say AAB? AAB, that's going to correctly say 2 changes. AAB3 is going to correctly say 3 changes because we need to copy the B over and then both A's. AAB3B does not work correctly. So the reason it doesn't work correctly for AAB3B is because this is a special case. And the special case is that we already have a palindrome that we can use to orient our algorithm. So if we could find maybe if we could find we need to find if there is a substring in our string that already is a palindrome. We can use that palindrome. We can essentially remove this. Yes, basically, if there is one palindrome, if there's multiple palindromes in our string, then it doesn't matter. But if there is only one palindrome in the string, then we can find that and orient everything else around it. We can essentially copy that palindrome and preserve it and use the rest to just copy everything else to the other side. So that is an optimization now. Right. Okay. Let me write that out. Actually, this is going to be a pretty cool blog post. I'm gonna write this as a blog post because I think it's gonna be cool as a little puzzle. So let's see. Case 1. Odd string length. Iterate from inside out. Count differences on left and right on count differences between left versus right side, you have to copy letters from each side to other to get palindrome. Case 2, even string length. Above algorithm works. So the above algorithm works. Adjust by -1 because there's adjust by -1 because there's one fewer letter to copy. Case 3, string has exactly one palindrome substring. Use set string to orient palindromization. Copy everything else to other side. Right. Copy. Remove palindrome from palindrome substring from the algorithm because you can use it as the pivot point to reduce number of changes. Perfect. So we now know, we've now written out the algorithm. It has 3 different cases. So now what we need to figure out is how we can find a substring that is a palindrome. And because that's, in this case here, we have B3B, we know that B3B is already perfectly the same from both ends, which means we can just, when we're constructing the new string, we can put that in the middle and then copy everything else around it using our other algorithm or the rest of our algorithm. So now how do we find palindrome substrings? That's an interesting problem. How would we find palindrome substrings? I did not know that Rome cultured Egypt into being a farm. That sounds kind of interesting. How do we find a palindrome substring? That's an interesting problem. Does anyone have an idea? We know how to find if something is a palindrome. You can just split it and reverse it and check. So whether something is a palindrome is easy. So the real question then is how to find all substrings. How do we find if there is a single palindrome substring? That is an interesting problem. I am explaining my problems to infinity, but you're spending too much time shitting around in the chat room to pay attention. Let's see. Function has one palindrome substring. Palindrome substrings, actually. Case 3, string contains palindrome substrings. Use longest palindrome substring to orient palindromization. Remove set substring from the algorithm because you can use it as the pivot point to reduce number of changes. Okay, so palindrome substrings, how do we do that? String, so we get the string, so we can go 1, then 2, I know there's an algorithm to find all substrings that match something. Should I just look it up or should I try to solve it? I hate the whole substring problem. So we're basically looking for the longest substring. Now what enters the function infinity is a string, as it says on the screen. How How do we find all substrings that fit a criteria? Okay. JavaScript longest substring palindrome. Let's see. Longest palindromic substring. JavaScript function longest palindrome in a blah. Wow, this is terrible code. I want to find better looking code. Longest palindromic substring. Centered palindrome, longest palindrome. You have it backwards. If you output the odd palindromes with your fix, you'll find they're actually even length. Imagine blah. Longest why is all this code? I don't feel like reading all of that code. Get the longest palindrome for a given string. Let's see. Get the longest palindrome for a given string. Longest palindrome. Perfect. That should work. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to longest palindrome underscore, we borrowed this from here. Function longest palindrome of the input mirrors. What does mirrors do? Where is mirrors from? Mirrors is a palindrome function. Default to first letter. Okay, longest palindrome for we can keep vars because it's fine. Input length, input slice, mirrors return word. Default to first letter, perfect. So we get the longest palindrome, and what we can do here is we can say string equals string dot replace longest palindrome of string with just empty characters, and it works pretty much. Why did it not work perfectly? Because it's returning the first letter. We should default to nothing, default to empty. B3b is returning -1 because of this. If string length divided by 2 and string dot length is bigger than 0, so AB3BD, we know that we need to make 2 changes, but it's saying AD. So AB3B, we know that B3B gets removed, then we keep A, but we only need to change A. What if we now say differences +1? Maybe we don't actually need this. Let's see. AB3BD, A needs to go to the other side and D needs to go to this side, so that's 2 changes. B3B doesn't need any changes. AB3B needs 1 change for A to go to the other side, and AAB3B needs AA to go to the other side. Cool. So I think that's the solution, guys. Let's see. What if we say AAB3BC, then we're going to get 3 changes. Perfect. And then we can say faker random word plum needs 2 changes. I'm pretty sure plum needs more than 2 changes to become a palindrome. I'm not sure how. So we need, let's say we take P, we need to change the 3 characters to the other side. What if we do actually return the first one? Input of 0, will we get something better then? Ergonomic definitely needs more than 4 changes. Right. No, actually, oh no is a palindrome. So then ERG is a length of 3, needs to go to the other side, and MIC needs to go to the other side. So interesting. It doesn't work for completely random words, but it does seem to work. No CDAA. Why is this so much harder than it looks? And why did it work for all of the normal inputs and then suddenly stopped working? So let's see. AAB3BC, we get AAC, and then we do, oh, is that true? Because what we can actually do is, let me try something else. What if we remove the longest palindrome, and then what if instead of removing the longest palindrome, we can say, we can do it like this. Let's see if we get the correct result as well. So we can console log string split by longest palindrome of string, right? So we split the longest palindrome and we get AA and C, and if we count the length of that, of both of those together, then we get what we need to do. So we get AAC, yes. Okay, so that was the correct result. We need to return let's see, let's say const left right equals string split longest palindrome of string, like that, and then we return left dot length plus right dot length, and I think that is magically going to work. Let's see. Yep. So now I can say AA B3B CD, and that's going to give me 4. And I can say CDD, and it gives me 5, which is correct. And I can also say faker random word, and it should also give me the correct result. Let's see, AI needs 1 change, right? That is true. The word metrics needs 6 changes because there's no real. So we just pick one of them. Let's say R, and then we need to swap everything else to the other side, and we get 6 changes because there's 6 letters on each side of the thing. Perfect. All right. Default to middle. So we say input.length divided by 2, and we are flooring that. Math.floor. And we've got our algorithm. We can even output the actual word. So let's output the thing. Yeah, let's output it. So we need to get function function palindromize a string. Shouldn't car be 1? Well, how is car 1? You need to get C to the other side and R to the left side, so you're making 2 changes. I'll show you how the palindromization actually works and that will make the most sense. Actually, we can do it like this. So left, we're going to be returning the counts, and we're going to return left.length. So const pivot equals longest palindrome of string, and we take the pivot out, longest palindrome of string, we return left. So left plus, so we keep the left, then we take everything that was on the right and we reverse it, reverse right, then we return the pivot, then we return the right and reverse of left, and those should be our palindromes. And if we say function reverse of string, we are returning string split reverse join. Let's see if that works. So AB3BD becomes ADB3BDA, B3B remains B3B, AB3B becomes AB3BA, AAB3B gets the AA on the other side, AAB3BC, see we have B3B and then CAA on each side. Same thing happens here, and then in customizable it just looks very confusing because it becomes Elba Zimotsu customizable because it's complete, there's nothing repeatable in the word itself, so the word just becomes completely copied over. And the same thing happens here. See, car becomes Raycar. Gorgeous fresh shirt. Wow. Let's make sure that it's always just one random word. Cool. We got it working. Awesome. So that took longer than I thought it, and it was quite mind-bendy. So I'm going to remove all of this stuff, and I'm going to write find longest palindrome substring, use that as a pivot point, flip the rest of the word around it. Voila. So we've solved the puzzle. Kinda ended up reusing some code from the internet to do the substring stuff because I didn't want to waste time figuring this out because I'm lazy. But other than that, we solved the problem, and I think it works pretty well. And that was, I don't know. I found that fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time, which will most likely be on Friday night. Bye, guys.